And today I want to talk to you about working with scale shifts to develop a quilt design. Now today we're just going to work with a single shape, the square, but we're going to use that in 3 different scales to produce an implied movement through similarity of shapes across a design rather than using directional elements to directly move the eye in one way or the other. Having explored the sort of generalized sense of movement that scale shifting can produce in a quilt like this or a design like this, I want to take a moment to look a little more specifically at just how and why that happens. And there's some specific choices of relationships I made that emphasize some of the most elemental Gestalt principles in terms of design. And the one in play here is really grouping by similarity. The eye or the brain will like to organize its understanding of space through similar objects because that allows for clustering and just easy organization of the information. And for this quilt, this forepatch being the most different part from everything else, and the fact that it is then quilted at a different scale from everything else, is usually, I think, for most people would be the place where the eye goes first. And what we can start to see then is how these different types of negative spaces, a sort of labyrinth movement amidst the different motifs emerges rather than a repetitive. And you get a secondary rhythm of the staggering of the crossing lines as while the outside, the lines that come around outside of the spiral sort of fade into the system. We get a really lovely secondary motif there.
Thomas Knauer Design Studio is sponsored by Old City Quilts. Discover quilting paradise between New York and DC.